Hello and welcome to another edition of Game Guru Broadcast Live. Your host, Lee Bamba, talking rubbish for the most part, but not this week, because I have a mission. Because I forayed into the forums, don't you know, and I discovered something in the place that I reserve for people to ask what they want me to talk about every week, every Wednesday, 4 PM GMT. And lo and behold, I found something. I'm going to show you what it is too. Now, I saw this about half an hour ago. Very true, but that's not that's not what I was clicking. That's the one, last page. So I was scrolling along and I saw this. Posted on the 4th of March by Disturbing13. My suggestion is for a sandbox type situation. How about an object hunt? With progression, I'll explain. Initially, we're given a task to do, say, shoot 5 cans. As you shoot them, a visible counter adds 1 for every can shot. When you finish shooting the 5 cans, you can return to the original quest giver who tells you of another quest that was not on the map previously. This spawns a new quest giver, a new item shoot, and so on and so forth. When I read that, I thought this is a great opportunity to go from beginning to end, create a little game in Game Guru to show you, but for those who don't know, how quick it is to make a game, and for those that know, how you would actually incorporate quests. Now, we've covered quests in the past. There's quite a lot of broadcasts stretching back, covering all aspects of Game Guru from these different Twitch broadcasts. But this is one that I don't think I've managed to have an opportunity to do. I've probably done it on and off for testing purposes, but to sit down and do it specifically, no. And I had an idea as I was reading it. I was having an idea of the, I think it was the Olympic, the Winter Olympics one where you do lots of skiing, then you shoot, then you do some more skiing. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do skiing in Game Guru, at least not yet, but we can certainly do the shooting part, which is what I'm going to attempt to do now. So, without further ado, I'm going to launch Game Guru in standard version 1.121. I'm coming to the close of adding all the features to the version 1.13. It's currently in beta 2 testing, and I'm going to release another beta 3 tonight, which has something really cool for the beta testers. So you can keep an eye out for that. That will be released next week, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be really cool. Just making sure it's rock solid for you guys before I attack you with it. So, to our game. To do quest givers in the traditional role, i.e. an NPC, a game character that you have a long conversation with before you figure out what the quest is, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to set up a large paved sort of area. So just have something like that. And I'm going to series of gates, let's say. So I'm going to start around this side of the map. I'm going to need some walls. So I'm going to use fences this time. So let's say we use the wire fence, chain link. So you can see what you have to do. I'm going to go into B mode, which is double B mode, which is grid, because I know this is actually 100 by 100. I'm just going to fence myself off. Oh, actually, I'll be messing about with the sort of cross thing. It won't look as good. I'm going to switch to the other one, which is snap mode, which does the same job, and you can rotate it 90 degrees, snap, 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 come out a bit, 2 more rotations, and snap to here, and again. And the idea is I'm going to leave a gap in the middle, and I'm going to put some sort of gate there, but I can continue my fence across here, maybe just 1 rotation, and same on this side. You'll find level design is a lot about patience as you draw all this out. Now, I'm going to think when you get to this part, you're going to have a long corridor to play around with. So let's say I just made it like that and then shut it off here. I'll leave that gap because I want to put like another gate there, and then I will normally close this off, but I'm not going to because I want to do like a gun range. So if I zoom out a little bit, create a lot more fences up to about here, and I think it's 3 across, and now it's 4 across, and then down. Now some people were discussing the idea that we can have a fence painter, something where this entire construction, because it's all the same fence, you'd essentially just draw it. So I could have drawn that in about 10 to 15 seconds. Certainly desirable in this particular situation, and so if more people ask for it, there's definitely a justification to do it. Now there's a gate, which I'm going to drop in relatively central. Actually, would I be able to? Yeah, I'll put that in there. I think there's a half a fence. Where's my half fence? There it is. Yeah, just jam that in there. Not brilliant, but means you can't escape. And I also want another gate here. Get rid of that. Pop in our gate, like so. And even though I'm not going to make them talk, I can certainly... Oh yeah, in the version 1.13 I've added a new character into here called Masked Civilian, which is basically this guy but doesn't shoot. He just stands. In the meantime, you're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is using some sort of script to say, don't be a soldier, just be a regular neutral, so he won't shoot me. But that's what the masked civilian would do, would just stand there. The reason I'm doing that, you might think it's a bit redundant, well, why can't you just drop that in and change the script? There has been some feedback about, some people don't want to even think about scripts, they just want to drop stuff in. And I'm going to start my mind in the process of anything that I would normally sit down and do a script, is there a possibility I could actually do it without script? And then implement some intuitive way to add that logic. So I'll be thinking about that for the next couple of months. Whereas up until now, scripts have been fun, but I'm getting some feedback that not everyone wants scripts. Don't even want to learn scripts. Have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. So there's our gate, and there's our start position. Now I presume this gate will open when you press an E, which is fine, but that other gate over there, which we'll sort out later, you won't be able to just open that. It has to be opened by you completing the action, which is shooting these 5 things. So if I just pop in another fence, just to show you can get to the end. So we're still on snap. So snap that there. Snap, snap, snap. Oops. And snap, snap, snap. Close that off. And just so you know you can complete the game, we'll go to markers, win zone, and then we'll basically say if you enter this area, then you've won the... There you go, then you've won the game. Such as it is. Now we'll make the scenery a little bit more interesting. Everything outside the compound, we can have it as regular grass. So if you hold down shift, when you're holding that, it will actually reduce it back down to green, which is the grass, which is the default stuff. So we'll get rid of the prevalence of this stuff, and also inside here we'll have a different material. Let's show it's actually our gun range thing, like that. Now, as I recall, in these games you basically had a barrier, so you couldn't go beyond the barrier when you were shooting. So I'm not going to be too strict about this, but in the spirit of the thing, let's have a go. So barrier, barrier, and the idea is you sort of lean your gun on the barrier to shoot something in the distance. Now when I say in the distance, there's usually something set up here. I think we actually do have, yeah, a target. Like, these cool target things. So maybe these are practice ones. Dink, Ding, ding. But what we want to do is sort of have, you know, 5 bottles on a wall that we can knock off. So we'll have this in the centre to show this is the bit you want to focus on. A table will do, furniture, like so. And I think we can have some fun with this. Long table and a thin table. And then make sure it's positioned generally straight in the centre, maybe a bit forward. Cool. And it's static, which is good. Now we want something to shoot. Now we're going to have to involve a little bit of scripting in order to detect when you shoot these things, because I think the request called for a visible counter, so you have to be able to see what you've hit. So what I'm thinking is something from scenery. Have we got some sort of target like a can? We've got a propane tank. Let's use a propane tank. Like so. And for now we'll just have some fun with it. We'll set it to a strength of 2. Very weak. Is it explodable? Yes. Is it immovable? Yes. So we don't really want it to move. We're shooting it. And we want a gun. So at this end, just to set up the rules, we need a table. We'll need a gun. And I'm thinking a sniper rifle. Seems appropriate. It's already on this auto find the surface, so it's on the floor now. BBW, you'll see it places it on the table for you. You're going to need some ammo, so you're looking for rifle. You can zoom a bit closer so you can position them better. Notice we're still on snap. If we switch off to off, you can get better control. So we'll rotate a little bit, and then we'll put down a couple of these, and maybe mark that area to show that's where you're supposed to start. Like so. You know, like a well-worn path to it. As you're running from the gate. Imagine this, if this was Winter Olympics, this would be a big course, and then this guy'd say, go, 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 and then you'd run through there, you'd run to here, get your gun, shoot, bang, 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 and then you'd run off through that gate and off to victory. So hopefully that makes some sense. Now I'm going to save this as Lee's Shot Game. That's Lee's Shot Game. Press the rocket and we'll see what we've got. This is our first run. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is where we start. This guy doesn't really say anything at all. In fact, it can't coalesced. Press E to open the gate. Run. In fact, I'm thinking we could have a time trial, couldn't we, to see how fast we could do this. Collect the ammo, pick up the gun, run in, bang, and then bang, 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 and then run this way, and then... Now, first thing I've noticed, I want the gates opening the other way. We want some sort of counter that shows up when it shows how many we've shot, and bang, 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 bang. Maybe I only give you 5 bullets. That would be interesting. Right now I've got quite a lot. But I can change all that. So let's say change a few things around now. We've played it once. Highlight that, and we can reposition the so it opens the other way. Same with this one. So it won't like the gate doesn't come through us, because when the gate opens, it switches its collision off and it will just go through you. There is, in the future, when we do what's called composite entities, you'll be able to have entities which retain their physical properties. So when doors swing open, they retain that physical quality and they push things out the way and even the player out the way. Now, I only want 5 shots for the gun. You only get 5 shots in this game. So I'm going to get rid of the lots and lots of ammo, and I'm going to change the properties on the rifle. So you only have... what should we say? Reload quantity none, so you've not got no reload. See what this looks like. Bop, bop, bop. So now it opens the other way. Run to the gun. Ah, reload quantity 0 means it's got infinite ammo. Okay, I knew that. We need at least one in there. Let's see how many we get. We get 1 plus 9, that's 10. We want 5. So in terms of quantity, the 1's already in the cartridge. So if we say 5, 1 plus 4, those are our 5 shots. Now what you want is some sort of display which appears when you're actually in the game. So that's perfect excuse to use what's called a trigger zone. So we'll pop that down here, we'll make sure it covers the game area. You notice what I did then? The one you may not have seen this, marker mode. It allows you to pick waypoint and zone markers without having the entities get in the way. It's pretty cool. So now we've got that, which is fine. Let's just change the sound effect, because it's always the same click sound effects, kind of a bit annoying. So having a different one would be good. So it pings when you walk in. Essentially what that does, in fact, just for the purpose of testing, you can actually move your start marker to whatever you're actually working on in your game at the time. Always remember to save early, save often. Dink. Just reading the comments, because this is a live broadcast. If you're watching it in video land, you can actually join these sessions live and ask any questions you like, which I invite anyone who's listening right now to do. If you want questions, is fine. If you want me to change something about what I'm doing, absolutely fine. And a comment was posted in regards to the fence painter, whether it would actually stretch the texture. No, it won't. It will actually use the entities and then just double up on them. So it will just connect one entity to another, but do it very quickly in sort of a paint way, rather than having to individually click them down and align them accurately. It knows how to string them together. It's like a big paper men, a chain of those tinsel men that are all glued together by the arms, that sort of thing. Okay, so this should now have 5 ammo, which yes, it does. And we've got our... I was so busy talking I didn't actually hear the thing as you went in. But we're in the trigger zone, and what I'm going to do is create a script. The first of many for this little game. So we've done the layout, we've done a bit of gabbing. It's, wow, it's really... I've been gabbing for 20 minutes just to get this far. Time flies when you're having fun, that's what I say. So we'll go to our Steam folder, find your way to Script Bank. I always find it a good idea to usurp or steal an existing script when I want to modify my own. So I'm going to take player in zone, and I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call it Lee's Shoot Zone. And always a good idea finding to go into stories and drop it in there, because it's cleaner than all that and trying to find it again. And these are kind of where the level specific scripts ought to live anyway, so create a folder inside here. But always very important, when you've got a script, make sure that the script function names mirror the file name, otherwise nothing's going to happen. So you've run into the zone, it plays a sound and it instantly destroys it, but we don't want it to be destroyed, or we don't want it to activate anything. What we are going to do is use this for our own maniacal purposes. So I'm going to create my little global. Another little tip: when you are using the save load feature in version 1.13, which comes out next week, it will not save any globals unless you've got G underscore at the start of it. That's because you can use lots of other, in quotes, globals, which are actually used to store image and sprite numbers. And when you try and load those values back in, it overwrites the image and sprites that you've already got set up for that script. So it messes things up. So in order to declare specifically which global variables you want saving out with your game, just put G underscore at start and my system takes care of the rest. You don't have to create your own custom save, export lists of things. It basically snapshots the entire lower global infrastructure, not arrays, just variables. You just need the G underscore at the start of it. So the reason I've created this, I only want to play the zone once. That's why. If you destroy the zone, it will only play it once, because as soon as it gets it, it destroys the whole thing and never calls the script again. But because we are calling the scripts over and over, we need to do things slightly differently. So we're going to set the flag to 1, play a sound. Effectively that should only play it once. And then the last thing you need to do is associate this zone with that script, which is now found in stories, Lee shoot zone. Just page up, just don't like it flickering. I mean, you don't see this zone in the game, it won't flicker in the game. It's just when you're editing, I don't need the flicker in my life. So, do we enter it? Yeah. So, ding means you've started the game. And we pick it there, and we've got 5 bullets and all the rest of it. So that worked a treat. Let me just tone down this lights and bloom a bit. It's a bit extreme. And let's just change things around just to make things more fun. Yeah, that's alright. That's nice and fun. Okay, can we have a bit funnerer? Those are rather big leaves. Yeah, I like that. That's better. Excellent. So we can come out and save. If you change the sky or the terrain, best to come out and save, so then your editor modifies as well, so you can see all the changes. So now we've got that, we want this other requirement, which is a visible counter. So for that, we'll just put a little prompt in the script. So when you're in the zone, when you're inside that little area, it's going to put up a prompt and say something like shots taken. Yeah, maybe shots taken. Is that the one? Shots made? No, I'll tell you what, shots hit. I'm sure there's some sort of elliptic thing with the black and the white little squares which show you what you've scored. We don't have time yet before we've added the basic functionality. So we'll just say shots hit. Shot. I should go be careful with this. Shots hit. No. Shots successful. What is that? Yes, Lee. This is a family show. Right, and we'll initialize that as we did before. So now, when we save the script and run, as soon as you walk inside the zone, you'll get some text on the screen, much as we have typed out. Shot successful, 0. Pick up the gun. Shoot that. Bang. So when we hit it, we want it to be successful, and when we don't hit it, we're not successful. We also want to count how many times we've shot as well, whether we hit or miss. Now that's going to be tricky. We're going to somehow need to know when the gun was fired. Fortunately, there's some really clever commands to let you know that, and you'll find those in the global. So if we go back to script bank, go to global, and look for the player stuff, look at all these here. We've got player gun fired. Convenient, isn't it? So we're still in our script. Let's close these down. I'll show you those later if we've got time. They're really cool and have nothing to do with this. And even if we're in the zone or not, no, I'd say yeah, because you might be running around shooting everywhere and you need to count those as well. But maybe not, but maybe later. So play gun fired. If it's, what should we say? If it's not 0, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be 0. But it's not 0, bang, we're going to do something. And Will that be persistent, or is it just going to be for one cycle? That is a very good question, Lee. So I'll tell you what we'll do. So if we create another variable here, you see this is as much, it's not just about, oh, I'm a Lewis scripter so I know everything. It's very rarely the case, even for programmers who've been at it 30 years. It's still much a case of trial and error for the most part. Some simple stuff you can knock it out and it runs first time, but more often than not you find yourself throwing a code in just to see if it works. Seems very slapdash, but alas, that's as far as we've got. You know, we haven't got a higher degree of programming at this stage. Yes, maybe they'll teach hyper programming courses 50 years from now where we don't have to do these experiments. But this is more fun too. So it starts off at 0, shots fired. As soon as that fired is not 0, I'm going to increment it. If this stays as a non-zero value, we'll see that other value rocket up. I'm hoping it's just going to be 1, so it just counts 1. It just counts. If I fire once, it'll only show that variable for once. But we'll see. So I'll shoot once. Right, do you see what happens there? It's basically going to stay a non-zero value for as long as it's firing and its entire fire sequence. Yeah, when it's finished firing it stops. The good news is, when you have enough programming knowledge in your head, you can think laterally. So one else thing you can do is you can say shot fire time, which is a variable. When you detect that it's a non-zero value, then what you can do is check to see whether it's 0, and then you can start a timer, which is an entity timer, so make sure that you pass E, because that's the entity. The zone that we're actually using, the zone that we had the script to, is also an entity, so it has an entity index as well. So let's walk through the logic. When it's non-zero for the first time, set that variable to 1, and then situations where it's not 1, then we can do something like get timer. As soon as it's timer returns in milliseconds, so let's say, what, 2 seconds? I think 2 seconds will give us enough time, so that's 2000. And then we can reset our time flag back to 0, and it rinses and repeats. Now, why? What's the beauty of that? Well, it means if we put that there, that increment, it'll only ever really get to do that once every 2 seconds. Now, 2 seconds was a guess, because I don't know how long it will take for the gun to fire and reset. Ah yes, the classic missing then issue. But it looks like they're all there, so first person to tell me off. I often do that. I just assume I know where the error is, but then I forget to look at the line number. If you look at the error, it says line number 21, then near expect equals. I think I know what it is. It's a single equals instead of a 2-way. So if we look again, we'll be 21, which is this line. Yeah, it needs to be a double equals for a conditional equate. And now we should be able to run it, and then it will just increment 1 by 1 by 1. Just reading the questions that are coming in. What is the subject today? Somebody posted, Disturbing13 posted a request to create this little scenario. It's basically quest giving and how to create a quest and then knock on to the next one. So that's what we're doing in this hour. This is as far as we've got. We've made our level. We've made a script. We're inside the zone, so shot successful with fire. 1. Reload. 2. See the importance of getting it right, because you only get 1 shot. So now we're actually counting the successful shots. And you'll imagine once we run out of bullets, that'll be our 5 goes. And that's it. Useless. And then we can run to the exit, which we're going to open that door automatically as soon as your 5 shots is up. Which I think we can do now, actually. Why not? It's the next natural thing to do. So because we have a new Doris folder. Let's create a new script. Let's call it Lee's Shoot Gate. Now, I'm being very crude with the naming of these scripts. You'd make sure that your scripts are properly capitalized and organized into subfolders and all this kind of cool stuff. But I just want to knock these out really quick so you get a really quick idea of what's going on. So what should we say? We want to activate this, don't we? We want to activate this gate as soon as something happens. You know what? I think we already have a script that activates a gate. It's door. Where is it? Door auto. Yes, that's right. It's a very useful thing to have. Door auto. Should we nick that? I'm pretty sure I wrote one which went on a remote, but I'll nick that one. You know, why reinvent the wheel? So just drop that in. Give it the same name as this. We don't want that anymore. So now, instead of writing my own, I've got this. I've stole it from the door auto. Now, what door auto script does, when you get near the door, it opens automatically. But we don't want to do that until something specific. Examples. The specific thing I'm thinking about is not when you're less than 100, but when you've got these far shots. The good thing about Lua is you can use globals across scripts, provided you declare them at the top. So we've got shots fired here. If we put it in here as well, declaring it as a global, it's just, and that's for insurance. If you actually drop this script in without this one and you didn't put this at the top, you'd end up with a Lua error because it wouldn't know what this was. It wouldn't have a clue, especially if we put in a condition. So I put it in here. I'm just ensuring that it's been declared ahead of time. And then what I can do, instead of if you're close enough to it, my new condition is if you fired 5 shots and you're alive and the player's visible, then if it's visible you open it. I don't think we even need that, so we can just assume true. And because I'm not sure if that's going to work in Lua, I'm just going to comment that out. So as soon as you meet this condition and it's not activated, it activates it. And then once it's activated after 100, looks like it closes it again, but only when it's not that. So it will open and should stay open. After 100, the collision switches off because it swings open slowly, you see, so you can't switch the collision off straight away. So in theory, that is a nice little script. But what we have to do is add it to the gate. So where the gate is, change it from Dolu, which is the default, to our new one we created called Lee Shoot Gate. Apply that. Save early, save often, and then run, and this should work. So, shoot. Let's just watch this gate. And when we get to 5, that gate should open automatically. There is another thing where if an entity gets or a zone gets too far away, it deactivates and doesn't run its scripts anymore. But there is a flag called always available, always active. But we're so close to this gate, it should. There you go, and you can run through and win the game. So that takes care of that. So now it's really just about scores, and that's in terms of the quest. You've got to complete this quest before you go to the next one. That's how you do it with Lua Globals. Now what I'm going to do is very simply have another script attached to these guys, which can count when we've hit them or not. So that'll be a third script, and we'll call this one bottle can. Let's click can. So again, copy the name exactly. Dink. Now, how do you know when they've been hit? Great question, and I can tell you. First things first, let's go back to our origin, which is this. We want to know how many shots were successful, which displays, but nothing's actually been done about it. So we put that one here. So we've got shared access to this one, and the idea is we can increment that, bang, when we've been successful hitting. Now, This is how I'm going to do it. There's probably a million different ways of doing this, but I'm going to check the health of this barrel, which I'm going to put it to 50,000. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't explode. Remember, 50,000 is the health. And in my little script, I'm going to say if the health is less than 50,000, that means you have hit it with something. Even if you just knocked it over, you hit it. Certainly if you shot it with the gun, it would definitely have less health. And then you increment, but you can instantly see the point. As soon as it does that, it's going to keep doing it. So I'm adding a flag later, but now I'm just going to destroy it just to know that this script is working. So Lee shoot can, go back to here, set it to its new script, its new little home. So that's can. Remember 50,000. Save. Run. And now when we shoot it, two things should happen. The success counter should increment, and the can should disappear. See how useful that is? It shot successful is going up like the clappers, but it's not disappearing. It's because you need to put an E in there. It doesn't know which entity to destroy, and it'll just skip that. If it becomes a silly command, it just skips it. So you put the E in there and it'll work. But I figured, you know, whilst I'm here, I may as well get on with it and do the right thing. So in order to make sure that you can only do this once, what would I do? What would the easiest thing for me to do? A little array, okay? So let's call it can. And then to do an array in Lua, it's just these little curly brackets. And then what you can do is, once you've reached that, if this, which is now an array, is nil, because it will be. In fact, you can absolutely assure yourself that it's nil by doing that. So every time an entity is initialized in the game, this gets called first. So I'm just going to make sure that's that. In fact, no, I hate nils. Let's set it to 0. And then in here we say if it's 0, then we set it to 1. So this can only happen once. And as it can only happen once, we put our increment in there. We don't need the destroy anymore. We might be able to do some other cool things like, depends what you'd like to do with it, I suppose. Here's an idea. Just had a thought. We've got the time. We have the time. We've got a few minutes left. We've got lots of few minutes left. There's a command called rotate. Here it is. Rotate Y, rotate Z. I think the X is the one we want. So we'll take the rotate, pop it in here, 90 degrees on the X. That won't do anything whilst physics is in force. So one other thing that we'll do is go to here, tell it to switch its physics off. So now it's entirely relying on the Euler angles and its fixed position in order to say where it's going to be in the universe. So save that. The script has already been saved. Now we can run. Just make sure the script is, yeah. So now what should happen is where the barrel shouldn't disappear, that number will increment once and it should flip. Right, so show successful 1, so that's worked. It's still there, it's not destroyed, so that's good. It hasn't flipped over, which is, it's not fair. I kind of wanted it to. And you'll notice, once you've shot it, you know, that doesn't count anymore. So you'd have to do 5. We may come back to that. I'm really wanting it to flip over. Maybe there's more. Rotate limb. Those are some new commands you may not know about. I've added those, which are really cool. How about this one? Set rotation. So that'll set all 3 axes. Let's try that. This is what we call in the trade brute force. So I'm going to rotate all that. See what happens. And after this, I'm going to abandon it and then move on to questions that have been posed, and then come back and finish this questy off with more barrels. So if we shoot it, yes. Persistence, you see. Now I'm just going to run over here because this was just a can, it would just shoot off. But you know those these sorts of things, like a big card which shoots down, those are what I remember in the Olympics. So whilst I'm talking about that, and thinking about it, I reckon I have one somewhere. I saw it. Yeah, how about these? Yeah, so how big are these? I remember one in like cardboard. Doopy doopy doo. That a cardboard. Alright, we'll use these. Now remember there were some qualities of this barrel, like it's using the particular script, it's 50,000 health, physics is off, make sure it's active, make sure that it's immobile. But I can remember those qualities. So what we'll do, we'll move this so it becomes part of the tabletop, like so. And then we'll go to properties and we'll do all them things again. So we're going to set story to the can, because that's it. We're going to set mobile is immobile to yes. We're going to set physics to no. It's not explodable, and the strength is 50,000. And that should do it. Get rid of the barrel. Move this to here. Now we're going to extract carefully. Hold down shift and click it back into place, and then what we can do is add 2, 3, 4, 5, just like they do in Winter Olympics. Save, run. So as I said, live chat, if you've got any questions about this or anything about Game Guru, we're going to have about 5 minutes left at the end of the broadcast. Happy to answer them, whatever they may be. And now what should happen? Slot successful. Shoot one. Oh yeah, that completely failed to do anything, didn't it? I'm definitely hitting them, aren't I? I reckon we've completely misjudged the nature of these entities. They're all static. One thing I didn't think about. So what you can do is, there's 2 ways of doing it. I think the easiest, safest way is static, no. Apply, delete, 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 and then extract, paste, 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 paste. Save. There's always a solution. It's just not always immediate. Okay. Yes! Actually, see how it's rotated sort of halfway up? You'll have to find a model which is rotated on the bottom of it, and there's a few things like that. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm after. Think. And then another one. Think. Gate opens, maximum score. Happy days. Just had an idea what I could do. What I would need is some sort of pole. Some pole thing. Do we have a pole? We've got a carrot. Can we just stretch a carrot to make it look like a big pole? Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go to scale, stretch out a big carrot, squash it on the X. It's like, what's Lee doing? Has he lost his mind? No, there's method to this madness. Make it static. Get the widget. Move it up to about here. Essentially, what I want to do is create a barbecue spit. So you can see it would essentially describe why they're actually pivoting halfway through. So, like so. Yes, and then rotate, no position, scale it along here. Move it this way a bit. Just behind there, so that's where it rotates, and then it's down a bit. And then in order to justify why our carrot's just floating in mid-air, let's just use this, rotate, drop it down a bit, move it in, and then what we can do is move it out and then up until it matches there, and this one the same. I mean, well, why faff about with this? Why not get to the meat of everything? It's because people have been asking how you can manipulate objects in a scene, and how do you do this and how do you do that. So, for those who are still uncomfortable with how to position objects, these are some of the things that you can actually do. Now I have to move that one a little bit closer, but apart from that, I think that was brilliant. So I'm going to save. I'm going to run it again. And whilst I'm running it, I can look at my questions. Just a question. This is from Zephyr Gaming. Are you going to implement a system in which to paint custom textures in your game? Like there's a way, but you have to replace the textures, and it's overcomplicated. Right. Well, you can paint terrain textures. I think you've seen that. So let me just zoom in. You can, yeah. Obviously, you can do a proper engineering job on there, make it look pivoty, or choose a different object which will just fall on the floor. But I think I do remember the Olympic ones. They had a little bit of a spindly thing. Do that. You get your 5 shots, and you go on to the next thing, and then you would have another character, just like our friend here. Let's get to him, and it would be over here, which will basically say congratulations, well done. You're on to the next part of your quest, like so. And save and done. So yeah, answer to the question, you can paint textures. So you can paint 1 texture type, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 textures that can come through on the terrain shader. If you're talking about sort of the same sort of thing, so I could zoom in on an entity and just paint over the top of that, no. Everything's possible, but the downside to that is as soon as you even touch that entity, you make it unique. So the game can no longer improve its performance by taking all these barricades, which are currently all identical. You can render them very quick. And if you light map it, you can render them even faster. And in the future, when we use instancing, it will render them even faster still. But if you go in and then paint over the top of it, that barrier becomes unique. If that paint sprays into this side, then that has to become unique. And not only that, you have to store the additional texture in video memory, which then gobbles up your precious video memory as well. So there's a lot of performance and memory issues related to actively painting on top of entities. I'm not saying it's impossible, there's just a consequence that I'm not willing to spend at this stage. A lot of feedback is saying people want more speed, they want more memory for bigger levels, and I won't achieve that by slowing things down and gobbling up more memory. So hopefully that answers something of the question. Synchromes says 20 minutes is nothing, trying to do all this in another engine in 20 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. But let's be fair, back in the day, perhaps if it was in assembly, writing like just rendering a dot to the screen might take you a day or 3. And to get all this done in less than an hour, absolutely. But there are some tools out there which let you do this in rapid. You know, you can create these levels very quickly. What you often find though is you can probably lay them out quite quickly, but then there's no logic behind it. You have to script absolutely everything. At least with Game Guru, once you've dropped in a few things and chosen some enemies and gates and, you know, things like jumping, running, walking, collecting a weapon, and then it looks like a weapon, and putting it away and collecting it, and then reloading it, and shooting people. You know, all this logic has been added for you by Game Guru automatically. You can change it, you can add to it, you can do your own, you can do something different. But it's there by default, which allows you to make games extremely quickly. So this is my interpretation of that request. I'll just go back to the original thing. So we've got, you can shoot 5 things. You've got a visibility counter which shows when you've shot them. When you finish the 5 cans, you return to the original quest giver who tells you of another quest that was not on the map previously. This spawns a new quest giver, new items and shoot. We've got 5 minutes left. I think I can do something along that last sentence. We've completed this and that door opened, right? But what if it wasn't as straightforward as that? What if you had to go back to this chap and say, I've completed the da-da-da-da-da, and then he says, Abba-Kazan, and then it opens the gate, right? So you make this guy the central quest giver of our little set piece. So we'll delete that guy. He's nothing to do with anything anymore. This is our smart Alec. So what we're going to do is, remember we give him the AI neutral. So we'll nick that. We'll put it alongside our other ones. And this will be a quest giver. Questy giver. There you go. as I said, make sure that your naming is perfect. So what happens is, you go up to him, he looks at you. If you shoot him in the head, he dies. So you cannot kill the quest giver. You can't pick up the rifle, come back and kill the quest giver. Not allowed. That's just not it. So we'll start off with a simple quest. As soon as you get near him, go shoot the 5 signs. Young Skywalker. We can change it later. And you've got to change his script from AI neutral to our new one, which is quest giver. Apply, save, run. For those who are a bit more adept in Lua scripting, have already seen where I'm going with this. Now remember I changed my start position. I'm going to have to put it back at some point. So yeah, once we get near him, go shoot the 5 sands, young Skywalker. So we run to the bang, 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 and then we finish. We want to go back to that guy. So the condition is going to be based on this value, shots fired, 5. Remember? So we'll make sure that that global is repeated here, so it's recognised. Although it's not absolutely critical if you're always using all the scripts. And then we're only going to say this if it's 0. This is where we get into, if you're old enough to have written text adventure games, and I wrote a few on the old VIC-20, you'll start to recognise this, the most crudest way to do a text adventure. If it's 0, you've not done anything. If it's greater than 0, you've fired at least 1 shot. So your quest giver might say, please return and finish your quest. Exclamation mark to show his anger. And if you've actually done all 5, then you've done what he's asked you to do. In which case, this gets really good. Then you can say something like, well, you would always say, wouldn't you? Congratulations, I have opened the way for you. Another exclamation mark. Yeah. Now, how would he have opened the way for us? Well, we can use another global. So what we'll do, we'll say, open the gate equals 1. So that's our new global. We set that to 0 initially. And it sets it to 1 as soon as you get this far. And you probably hear in the distance the gate open as soon as that. But that won't do anything until we tell the gate to use it. So instead of shots fired, we don't need that global anymore. We've got a new one. When open the gate equals 1, because our quest giver has given us that flag, then it can open the gate. So now we'll move our start marker back to its original game start position. Save the game. We're going to run it. This should work. And run to him. Go shoot the 5 signs, young Skywalker. We open the gate. We run through. We shoot. Don't necessarily have to score them all. Because remember, once you've shot the 5, you want to be able to. Yeah, and then another one. But I'll do all 5. In fact, no, I'll shoot one into the air. So shot successful, 4 out of 5. Notice the gate hasn't opened because you have to go back to the quest giver and brag. So let's go and walk up to him. Please return and finish your quest. But I don't have any more bullets. So the script was actually related to shots fired, which I thought would have been enough. You know, shots fired equals 5, then it would have done it. So probably a good idea at this point to have a little bit of a debug, which we can remove later, because it should have got to 5 and then it should have said this other thing. Yes. Oh, I know what it is. Lee being a silly boy. Anything greater than 0, it's going to do that. You see, which includes 5, if you think about it. So it probably should be the other way around. So if your 5 then do that. Else, if you're greater than 0, then you can do that. Which is a bit of a moot point because you can't get greater than 5, so you can always do that, which makes it a little more elegant. So we'll run that, and this should be the final game. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. So we run up, shoot, Skywalker, and you know, he could have opened the door for you as well. There could have been a global script, which, yes. With hindsight, I should have given myself a magazine with 5 bullets in it. It would have made my testing a lot quicker. And then finally, and then run back to the guy. You can see the gates open in the distance. Congratulations, I've opened the way for you. The quest giver has now seen that you've recognised, completed this task, and then you're going on to the next one. And then, boom, level complete, and then you're on to the next level. And there you are. Nice little game. And I'll actually upload this and the scripts to the forum that relates to the request for this particular broadcast content. And I've gone over, but I was late by 2 minutes, so that makes it okay. I'm just going to go through for some last minute questions. No, looks like I have been quite thorough. Not even a single question that is off topic, which is great. So like I said, I will share this level and the scripts on this forum here. So I'll post it as a response to this. If you want to hear some other things about Game Guru, some different topics, things you want to know more about, just post it here. I will check this forum before I start every live Twitch broadcast, and I will defer to this. If there isn't anything of substance requested here, then I will just make something up as I go along. So until next Wednesday, I think it's next Wednesday, I should be available next Wednesday, 4 PM GMT. I will be here again, live twitching about Game Guru. My name is Lee Bamber. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Bye.